Awesome. All right. I think we can go ahead and get started. So, to give you guys a quick little introduction, this is Mandy Beach. She is an educator for Sugarlash PRO. You may know her from our brow lamination courses, and you will be seeing her in our upcoming Lash Lift course, which will be launching next week. We're very excited to see Mandy's Glam Lift webinar coming up here. We're super excited. So if Mandy, you want to start taking over, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for that introduction. Welcome, everybody. And just a reminder, you can ask questions in the webinar chat box, and Paige will relay them to me throughout the webinar. So don't be afraid to use that chat box if you have any questions. But hopefully we're going to cover everything you need to know today to perform a glam lift. So I'm just going to get right into it and start by sharing my screen. Just give me 1 second here. There we go. All right, welcome to the Glam Lift webinar. I'm so happy to have you all here today. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I'm going to get right into it. So my name is Mandy. If you want to give me a follow on Instagram, you can follow me at the Boss Beach. So I have the handle written right here on the left-hand side. And just so you know a little bit about me, I started as a makeup artist in 2016. I discovered my passion for lashes and brows through makeup artistry. I then went on to learn lash lifts, and honestly, when I learned lash lifts, it blew my mind, and I just fell in love with it. I loved that we could show people just how beautiful their natural lashes are, and they'd walk away and have those results for 6 to 8 weeks. That just blew my mind, and I became extremely passionate about it, and I wanted to honestly just be the best I could be at it, and that's still my goal today. I'm always trying to improve on my skill when it comes to lash lifts. So I also gained experience renting a room for a couple years before opening a salon. So I had a salon on a prominent street in Winnipeg, and for about 5 years. But then I decided that I wanted to focus more on education and my family. And so I shifted to a home salon, and that's where I'm at right now. So I operate out of my home. I love it. It's amazing. It allows me to walk my daughter to and from school. I just have a more flexible schedule. I don't have to worry about anybody but me. So that's, I love it. And also, I became a Sugarlash PRO educator in 2020. And so I have been working with Sugarlash PRO ever since. And obviously, I'm super passionate about Sugarlash PRO. Otherwise, I would not be here. Okay, so I just want to share with you Sugarlash PRO's mission statement. So our mission at Sugarlash PRO is to drive success for artists, educators, and academies through ever-evolving education, product innovation, and dedicated customer service. We empower entrepreneurs at every level to grow their business using the proven Sugarlash PRO systems, as well as business coaching and resources available to our members. Your career and confidence is our #1 company goal. Sugarlash PRO Academy is a training ground for lash artists who are actively working and changing the game. Our video modules have been developed to accommodate working students with busy schedules, as well as those who learn better in a self-paced environment. So, what is a glam lift? A glam lift is a hybrid between lash extensions and a lash lift. Once a lash lift is performed, you add 10 to 20 lash extensions, and they're strategically placed throughout to give more length and density. The service is perfect for those clients who are looking for a classic or hybrid look, but without the upkeep of a regular set of extensions. So Sugarlash PRO is committed to high quality products, which is why we can do a service such as the Glam Lift. I'm going to be highlighting some of our main characters for this service. So the first is the Lash and Brow Lift Solutions. So this is a histamine-based solution. So it is thioglycolic acid free and sodium bromate free. And what that means is it's actually those two chemicals are banned in Canada. Thioglycolic acid is really not safe for the skin and can cause chemical burns. And sodium bromate is actually a known carcinogen. So those two chemicals are not used in our lash and brow lift system. So we have a histamine-based system. So what that means is it's a gentle formula. It's effective in reshaping the hair. It's going to cause less damage. It's safe for skin. It provides a healthier lift, which means it's safe for extensions. So choosing an adhesive. So we want to talk about when selecting a lash adhesive, it's essential to account for your working environment's temperature and humidity. If you don't have the right temperature and humidity, your glue is going to get really gummy and tacky and it will not work well for you. So the impact on adhesive is high humidity can cause the adhesive to cure too quickly, while low humidity can slow down the curing process, affecting retention. So ideal conditions is 20 to 75% humidity and temperatures between 19 to 23 degrees Celsius in Canada, 16 to 73 degrees Fahrenheit for our US students here today. You guys are kind of like students, right? So yeah, I would recommend the Signature Bond because it has a really broad humidity range. So our Sugarlash PRO Signature Bond is between 20 and 70% humidity, and it hits the temperature goals here as well, bringing it to 19 to 23 degrees Celsius. And it has a 1 to 2 second drying time. So it's great for beginners, but also great for lash artists who've been lashing, their whole career. It's my favorite. It's what I recommend for adhesive for the Glam Lift. Choosing your tweezers. So choosing the right tweezers is crucial for any lash artist as they are key to precision and efficiency. You want to make sure you're having something between comfort and balance. So comfort in your hand and a good balance between grip and flexibility. Precision alignment is important as well as personal preference. So Sugarlash PRO offers a variety of tweezers suitable for the Glam Lift. For isolation, my favorites are the I-45 and the U-Curve. That's what I use. But you can also use the I-Pro, the IS, and the IP. So those are all isolation tweezers. And for universal tweezers, you have the U-Curve and the U90. All right, so now we're going to get into the process of how to complete the Glam Lift. So the first thing we're always going to do before any service is cleanse the lashes. You want to thoroughly cleanse the lashes, the upper lid, lower lid, from the brow bone to the cheekbone. I like to cleanse the whole eye area just to make sure it's super clean from any sort of residue, oil, makeup, anything that could interfere or create a barrier with our solutions. And then you're going to rinse the lashes starting from the bridge of the nose, giving your client a heads up. So I definitely recommend walking your clients through each step, letting them know what you're doing. It's going to avoid a lot of like eye scrunching and twitching if they know what you're going to do ahead of time. And then we're going to pat our area dry there and move on to the next eye. After cleansing both eyes, we're going to be applying the eye pad. So we have a video here you can watch as I apply the eye pad, get the client to close, and then smooth it out. So you're going to apply that eye pad so all lower lashes are secured. All right. Once the lower lashes are secured, it's time to assess the lashes to determine what correct shield size you will use for the lash lift and how long you'll process the lashes for. So my tip here is to compare the lashes to a piece of thread. So the first thing we're going to want to do is determine the thickness. So does your client have thin, average, or thick lashes? So the tip is to compare the lash to a piece of thread. So if the lashes are the same as a piece of thread, they have average lashes. If the lashes are thinner than a piece of thread, they have thin lashes. And of course, if they're thicker than a piece of thread, they have coarse lashes. So this is going to determine your processing time. And for our solutions, our processing times vary between 8 and 12 minutes. It's 8 to 10 for fine lashes, 10 to 11 for average lashes, and 11 to 12 for coarse lashes. So it's not the fastest processing solution on the market, but I would say it's definitely one of the safest. And then after, you're going to determine your shield size. So once you know your processing time, you're going to choose your shield. Sugarlash PRO has 6 shields that vary from SS to large. So there's 2 ways that you can determine which shield you're going to use. One, there's a ruler at the end of our lash pick that we carry. So you can use that ruler to measure the lash. That's not my favorite way because lashes have a curl to them. So you got to try and find a way to like use a flocked applicator to sort of straighten the lash out and then use the ruler to measure how long the lash is. The other way, and my preferred way, is to pick a shield by looking at the lashes. You know, especially if you're a seasoned lash artist, you're going to know by looking at your client's lashes sort of where you're going to start, a starting point. So if you're picking a medium shield, you're going to hold that shield on the eyelid and you're going to use a flocked applicator to brush the lashes up onto the shield and see where the tips of the lashes lay. If the tips of the lashes reach the midsection of the shield, you'll want to size down. If the tips of the lashes sit over the midsection of the shield without overlapping to the scalloped area of the shield, you'll want to size up. So I don't know if that makes sense. I'm going to repeat that again. I feel like I said shield a lot there. So if the tips overlap onto the scallop area of the shield, your shield is too small and you need to size up. If the tips of the lashes just reach the midsection of the shield, you'll want to size down. There, I said it now. All right, so once we've assessed the lashes, we know what our processing time is, we know what shield we're going to use, we're going to move on to applying the shield. So there's a couple of tips here you can see for applying the shield. You can use a piece of tape on the eyelid before applying the shield to save on cleanup time at the end or to help with clients that have oilier skin. For clients with hooded eyelids or excess skin, you can use tape to stretch the skin so the shield can adhere correctly. So never be afraid to use tape to tape up the eyelid and the extra skin. And then for clients with unruly lashes, you can use an additional iPad to hold the lashes down before applying the shield. Honestly, if you haven't used that tip yet, it's the best. It works really well. I definitely recommend, even if your client doesn't have unruly lashes, using a second set of iPads to hold down those lashes really helps to get the shield as close to the lash line as possible without overlapping the lashes. Okay, so we're going to be applying adhesive to the shield, and then we're going to be brushing back the lashes. So you see I'm going to be applying the adhesive here and then brushing back the lashes. Now this video, obviously it's a time-lapse video, and don't mind my stained finger there. I do a lot of lash lifts and I don't wear gloves, so I have stained hands all the time. So I apologize for that, but you're going to brush back your lashes. and wait 10 to 15 seconds for the glue to tack up before brushing the lashes back. It's going to make for a much easier time applying the lashes to the shield. And I'm using an M shield here for my client. Refine and untwist the lashes. So I feel like this is my like little secret weapon. So once I get the lashes up onto the shield, I go back in with a little bit of water and a flocked applicator, and I go in and I just pull them back even more as tight as possible and separate them so that I get the most perfect curl. Okay, so once we're all set, we're going to apply step one. So apply step one in a pat and drag motion. So just a reminder for the processing times. With the processing times are for fine lashes 8 to 10 minutes, average lashes 10 to 11 minutes, and coarse lashes 11 to 12 minutes. We're going to be applying the solution from the root to about 3/4 up. But just so you know, cysteamine is safe for the tips. So if you wanted to apply, say, to the tips, technically you could, but why apply to the tips when you don't have to? You're using more product, you don't need to. There's no reason. And then, of course, I always put this tape barrier on. So what I do is I just take a piece of lash extension tape, fold in the sides, and then I put it on the eyelids so that it holds up any lashes that may want to pop off during the processing time. After we're done processing, we're going to remove step one, and then we're going to mix our set lotion with our tint. So this is an optional step. You technically could tint afterwards, after step two. That's traditionally how it's done. However, with the Sugarlash PRO systems, you can actually set and tint at the same time. And then as you can see here, I'm removing in brushing upwards from the root to the tip with my brush. And once the solution's all removed, we'll move on to applying step two. So step two is applied from the root to the tip. So you want to apply to the whole of the lash from root to tip. And it's just in the same pat and drag motion as we did for step number one. So we are going to process this for 10 minutes. And the reason why we're doing 10 minutes and we're not doing the amount, so if we say we did 8 minutes for step number one, technically for step number two, we would do 6 minutes, right? But for tinting, you're going to do 10 minutes, and that's so that the tint can fully process. So always 10 minutes when applying the step number two mixture for processing times. After the 10 minutes is up, we're going to remove the step number two mixture, removing from root to tips, placing the excess on a cotton round. And if anybody has any questions, just a reminder, you can ask those questions in the chat box and Paige will read them out to me.
Looks like we don't have any questions yet, but yeah, if you guys have any questions about anything at all, from products she's using to, processing times, anything, we're here for you.
All right, so then we're gonna clean the lashes. We're gonna use a damped Q-tip or flocked applicator and just make sure all that step number 2 is removed and that anything on the skin is cleaned up.
All right, we've got a question here. Um, what is your favorite tint to use, Mandy?
So I use Refecticil in Pure Black. I think it's my favorite. It goes really black and it lasts a long time. That's one thing my clients always comment on is they're always surprised how long my lash lifts last for. And part of that I think is because the tint lasts so long on their lashes. So Refecticil would be my choice. All right, so after we clean up the lashes, we're gonna be applying Nourish. So Nourish is just gonna condition the lashes and we're gonna apply it in a pat and drag motion and you're gonna let Nourish process for 2 minutes. And you're applying it from root to tip again. Okay, once the 2 minutes is up, we're gonna remove Nourish from root to tip with our brush.
Mandy, we have another question. Do you wipe with water after step 2, or do you just dry wipe and then apply Nourish?
Just dry wipe and then apply Nourish. But you can, like I do go in with the dampened Q-tip in and around like the area right here, the scalloped area and the skin to remove any step 2. So I don't necessarily wipe this area with a dampened Q-tip, but I do wipe the surrounding area. So once you remove Nourish, we're going to take down our lower lashes. And this is where we start to prep for the extensions. So I'm just using 2 pieces of lash extension tape there in a crisscross motion. And then we're going on to their next step here, which is remove the shield. So I remove the shield using a dampened Q-tip and I just massage the eye area until the lashes pop off the shield. Making sure any additional adhesive is removed. And then I'm going to give the lashes a really good brush, ensuring all the lashes are separated.
Mandy, we've got another question. Why do you add more tape again?
So I add more tape again because it's going to create just an additional barrier for our tweezers when we start to the lash extension portion of the service. And also too, sometimes some bottom lashes can pop out or there's a couple that are stubborn and don't want to stay underneath the iPad. The tape is just an extra barrier to hold those lashes down. Okay, prepping the lash lift for lash extension application. So we want to make sure we remove residue with a dampened Q-tip or flocked applicator and ensure the lashes are completely dry. So after you tape up your bottom lashes, you're going to go and just take a dampened Q-tip or flocked applicator and just make sure that there's no residue on the lashes. It's okay for the lashes to get wet. I know we've been told in the past that that's not okay, but that was with the thioglycolic acid. With cysteamine, you could technically wet the lashes after every step and they'd still be okay. That's the really cool thing about cysteamine, is it works really well. and so yeah, you can get the lashes a little wet. It's not going to destroy your lash lift that you just completed. Okay. I don't recommend that you use a primer because we've already cleaned the lashes and removed the residue. So the lashes are already prepped for lash extensions. So there's no need for primer. However, if you wanted to use Curator at the end, you could use Curator. If you're working in less than ideal conditions, Curator is just going to help the lash extensions last a little bit longer. You just put a drop on a micro swab and dab it on the base of the extension at the end of the service. So now that our lashes are all prepped for lash extension portion of the Glam Lift, we need to set up our lash extension palette. We need to choose our curl diameter and length. So I usually recommend a CC curl when doing the lash lift. And the reason why I recommend a CC curl is because in my past experience doing this, the CC curl just blends the best. It always blends no matter what. I wouldn't say no matter what, because if you're obviously placing lash extensions and, you know, if you're placing a 12 in the inner corner, that's going to stick out like a sore thumb. But you know what I mean? So it does just blend really well. So I recommend using a CC curl, and in a 0.10 or 0.12 millimeter diameter. You can go even less than that if you wanted to. Like you could go and do 2 lash extensions on one eye by using a 0.03 or 0.05. So you could do that. There's no right or wrong when doing a glam lift, but what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to make sure that the lash seamlessly blends with the natural lashes. We're not wanting these lash extensions to stick out. We're wanting them to blend and just add a little bit of extra oomph, a little bit of extra pop. And so that's why when it comes to choosing the lengths based off of clients' natural lashes, you only go 1 to 2 millimeters above their natural lash. You don't want to be picking lash lengths that are 12 millimeters if your client has 9 millimeter lashes. So once you've set up your palette, you'll be ready to begin. But first, we're just going to talk about why plush lashes and not flat lashes. So plush lashes are our version of sort of like a classic lash. And then, of course, we have our flat lashes. So the reason why we don't use flat lashes and we're going to use more of a classic lash is flat lashes are curved at the base to sit on the top or bottom of the natural lash, whereas a plush lash are circular at the base, allowing you to attach the lash to the top, bottom, or sides of the natural lash. The other thing too is, can you use volume pro-made fans? Yes, you absolutely can. And I recommend doing a CC 0.07 6D narrow. So Paige, I don't know if you want to type, if you're able to type that out for me, if that CC 0.07 6D narrow is what I usually recommend. It's just, again, through trial and error, what I feel blends the best with my clients' lashes when I'm lifting them. Of course, you can always go with something different, like a 5D or a 4D. Like, you can get as creative as you want to with the Glam Lift and with using volume pro made fans. This is just the baseline to start at for what I recommend. You can also do brunette. So I do apologize. This picture is a little bit blurry, but this is a before and after of a brunette lash lift. So you can do it with tint or without tint and use our brunette lashes to create an even more natural but elevated look. Okay, so once we've decided what lashes we're going to use, we can actually begin lashing. So you're going to want to lash 1/4 of the way into the outer corner. So you're going to leave the inner corner alone. You're not going to put any lashes on the inner corner. So it's almost like you're doing a half set of lash extensions. So you're going to be placing 10 to 20 lash extensions per an eye. And remember, isolation and directional placement are key. And we're going to talk a little bit more about isolation in the next slide. So I'll just let you guys finish watching this portion of the video here. So as you can see, I go in, I isolate the lash, and then I go and place the lash usually on top, but sometimes, you have to do, there's different application methods that you can do, whether it's like a wraparound or placing it on the bottom, placing it on the top. Each lash is different, and you're going to have to use a different technique possibly for each lash. So isolation refers to the technique of separating a single natural eyelash from its neighboring lashes to ensure that only one lash is bonded with the extension. This is a crucial step in the lash extension process because it prevents multiple lashes from sticking together, which can lead to discomfort, improper lash growth, and damage to the natural lashes. So, tips to achieve lash isolation. So, use stainless steel tweezers. They are lightweight and help prevent carpal tunnel syndrome. Grip your tweezers closer to the base, similar to how you hold a pencil to prevent strain. Using 2 tweezers may help with isolation. And don't be afraid to rest the tips of your tweezers on the gel pad, especially since we put that extra tape there. Gel pads act as a barrier. You're not going to hurt your client. Just be mindful of your pressure. So how far do you dip the lash extension in the adhesive? So you're going to shake your adhesive for about, I would say a good minute. Give it a good shake, and then you're going to put a drop on your palette of adhesive, and now you got to dip your lash into the adhesive, and you're going to do that at approximately 2 millimeters into the lash glue. And your goal is to get into the center of the dot. So you don't want to graze the top of the dot. You don't want to go too far into the dot and touch your lash palette. Your goal is to dip the lash extension just 2 millimeters into the center of the dot. So what lashes do you place the extensions on? So you're going to aim to place the lash extensions on the catagen lashes. So as we all know, we have 3 stages of growth: anagen, catagen, and telogen. And our catagen lashes, by placing the lash extensions on the catagen lash, we're going to be maintaining our clients' lash health while also helping their glam lift last the longest. If we placed all the lash extensions on the telogen lash, then those lashes could shed quicker and they would get less results.
Mandy, we have a question.
Yep.
Does the oil in the Nourish solution, or if you were to use Plump, affect the retention of the extensions?
So Nourish does not, it does not affect the retention, at least. So I have done probably close to, I don't know, 1 to 200 glam lifts, and the retention is not affected because you're going in and you're essentially removing as much of the excess of Nourish as possible before applying the extensions. So I do find that the extensions, there's no issue there. However, with Plump, I would not recommend using Plump. I haven't tested it with Plump, but Plump is a lot more, I find it's thinner and it's a little bit more oilier than Nourish. And so I wouldn't recommend using Plump.
Perfect. Thank you, Mandy.
Perfect. So again, what lashes do I place the extensions on? Those would be, aim for the catagen lashes, and to where do you put the lash extensions? Now we said you're going to go 3/4 into the eye from the outer corner, right? And generally what I do is I apply lashes that are 1 to 2 millimeters more than the client's natural lash. And what we're aiming to do is just give them a natural look with like a natural eye with, I forgot my train of thought here, sorry. The natural eye with, Paige, help me out here. What was I just saying?
So where were you trying to go with this, Mandy?
I don't know. I'm just going to stop.
Yeah,
What lashes do I place lash extensions on?
we did talk about this
We did
already. We
that. We're
talked about
good.
the
We're moving on. This is the final result. So as you can see, the lash extensions, I mean, if you look as a lash artist, if you look really, really close, I'm sure you can spot them. But for our clients, that blends seamlessly. You can't really spot the lash extensions. And that's your final result. Okay, so aftercare, you're essentially going to treat them like lash extensions because you have lash extensions on your eye. So you're going to keep your lashes dry for 24 hours. You're not going to sleep on your face. You're going to try and brush and cleanse the lashes daily and avoid mascara. I always say, like, avoid mascara until all the majority of the lashes have fallen out, because sometimes, like, if you're going, like, your clients at like 6 weeks or 8 weeks and they might want to start wearing mascara, that's okay. At that point they can start wearing mascara. It's not going to cause any damage at that point. Most of the lash extensions will have fallen out. So that's the aftercare. So you want to make sure you're letting your clients know the aftercare. And then what should I charge for this service? So I charge an additional $50 for single lash extensions and an additional $70 for fans. So for example, if I charge $110 for a lash lift and I add $50 on for the lash extensions, I charge $160 for the Glam Lift or $180 for the Glam Lift with fans.
Mandy, we've got another great question here. Do you
Okay.
offer lash fills for this service to keep up the extension portion?
So no, I generally don't. You could. If there was a market for it and your clients were asking for it, you could. I generally will bring them back if they want and retint their lashes as an in-between type of service. I've done that with lash lifts. But generally they find that they're not going to need it because their lash extensions are going to shed and they're going to be left with their lift for 6 to 8 weeks, which is, so like, the whole point is not to be having to do the fills. So that's what the Glam Lift is for. It's not that you can't do it. If a client wanted it, you absolutely could do it. But the Glam Lift is for that client who maybe wants to dip their toes in the water, try out lash extensions, is going for a night out or a wedding, or they're going on a vacation and they want a little extra oomph, but they don't want that upkeep of having to come for regular fills. So this way they have their lash extensions for, a couple weeks, but they're left with a lash lift that lasts them 6 to 8 weeks. Any other questions? Well, if you guys think of anything else, my contact information is Mandy at sugarlashpro.com. I really appreciate you guys joining for this little webinar today. We worked really hard on it as a team. And if you have any questions or comments or suggestions for the future, please just email us and let us know. We love that feedback. Yeah. Paige, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't have anything to add. I just want to say great job, Mandy. And thank you everybody for coming out and joining us for the Glam Lift webinar. There will be a recording of this posted, so you guys will each get that emailed to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We'll stay on for another couple minutes just in case any more questions roll in. But if that's everything, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. I hope you, even just learned one thing today from our webinar. That would make my day. So
We've got a lot of thanks, Mandy. Thank you. Great job coming in.
thank you.
More thank yous. Yes, great work, Mandy. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Aw, fills my heart.
We've got another question.
Oh, how many?
Yeah.
Oh, I can see. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
How many weeks for retint? Usually 4 weeks.
Well, that's a good question. How long do you book for this service?
About 2 hours. It usually takes me an hour and a half to do the actual service, but I book 2 hours just in case because I have had a Glam Lift run for 2 hours. It really depends on the client's lashes. So, yes. Sorry, I got distracted by another question. So that answers that question. Now we're going to go on to the next. So that's how long I book for the service, is about 2 hours. Usually takes me an hour and a half. What if the client has lashes left over? Remove the extensions first before retinting. Yes, I would remove the extensions first before retinting. Definitely. Yes.
Perfect. And then another question came in with how long does it take for you to do just a lash lift?
Usually 45 minutes to an hour.
Mandy's a good pro at them.
Thanks, Paige.
Of course.
If I use a small shield for a lash lift, what is the curl you suggest for extension? I would still suggest CC to blend it. But I mean, as you get more comfortable with the service, I mean, if you look at your client's lashes and you feel that they need a different curl, you can absolutely go in with that curl. There's no right or wrong answer here. That's the cool thing about this, is it really is an artistry, and you can pick and choose, what lengths or what curl you're going to use that best suits your clients.
Perfect. We'll wait a little bit more for any further questions. But of course, you guys are always welcome to reach out to Mandy via email or her Instagram handle that I did comment in the chat as well. Oh, I do see another couple questions here that I didn't see come in through the Q&A. Um, so one of them is one that we already answered, but we did have another one. Why would a client want to do a lash lift and add eyelash extensions?
Um, I feel that they would want it's for that client that wants a little extra oomph. So they don't want the maintenance of committing to coming in for regular fills. So this way we're putting just really light extensions on the natural lash so that they're not causing any damage when they're growing out. And so they get a little extra length, they get a little extra density, and they have that for 2 to 4 weeks with the lash extensions. And then also, I was going to say something else, but it also left my mind. So I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
I think
Uh,
I think
I'm a little nervous. This is our first webinar, and yeah. So,
I think another good purpose for the glam lift would be for those clients who, yeah, they want that extra oomph for an occasion. So let's say, a mother of the bride or a mother
yeah,
of the
or they want
groom.
to test out lash extensions. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Or they want this. There we go. It came back to me. It came back to me. Or they just want to like dip their toes in the water, and it's like, but they don't want to fully commit to lash extensions because again, you're going to leave those lashes on for until they shed naturally, and then you're left with your lash lift for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. We do have another question in the chat there, Mandy. How long would you say until all of the lash extensions fall out?
Oh, that's a good question. Depending on the bond, they could last until literally until the last sheds. So it could be up to 8 weeks until the last sheds. Aw, thanks, Jessica.
Perfect. Okay, we'll give it another couple minutes for some more questions. Here we have another. I think you mentioned you have a new course coming out next week. Is that an updated version of the current Lash Lift course? Yes, that is. So that will be launching on the 15th, and it is just an updated version of our current Lash Lift course. It also includes our cysteamine hydrochloride-based solutions. So well, it'll be all based on that. So super relevant for you guys. So that's going to be available for you next week. Hi, Jessica. Great to see you again. Well, I guess I can't really see you, but great to hear from you again. Jessica is an educator at one of our Academy partner schools, and she is just fantastic.
Yay.
Perfect. Okay, I think we're all good to wrap up here. So thank you so much, Mandy, for taking the time today to talk to us about the Glam Lift. And thank
Thank
you
you.
everybody for attending today. Like I said, you'll get the recording of this webinar.
Perfect.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.